Hello everybody and welcome to Chaoko Draws. This is the Chaoko Draws for the Diggy the Huskey cover art, which Diggy the Huskey, by the way, is the game that was supposed to be coming out in around this September. However, as due to recent occurrences and just my opinion on how the game is as of right now, I'm not sure if the game will be coming out in that September or this year even, because I was just working on the game and I just looking at how the graphics are and what I could be doing and what I'm not doing, and just my interest in the game in general has just gone down a little bit. But it's not like I'm completely done with Diggy the Huskey or anything. I still want to make the game, but I realized that if I were to make more Diggy the Huskey games, this would be the only 2D platformer, and I'm pretty sure this would be the only I don't think there would be a trilogy, that's for sure. Perhaps a second game, if anything. But if there was going to be another game, it would not be in the same play style. It would either have to be in 3D or it would be RPG. And the RPG obviously would be a one-off thing, and the 3D thing would probably be where the games take off more so. Yeah, in terms of actually making the game in those different styles, it'll all depend. And another thing is I looked at how the story goes in Diggy the Huskey. The game works so much better as just a one-off game. The first game itself is very good, or story-wise, at least in my opinion. I can't really speak for myself because that's really biased. But in terms of how the story goes, it seems like it would be better off as just a one-time game. And so would a lot of games, really. But Diggy the Huskey definitely would be one of those. And the only thing I could see being made after that would kind of be the RPG and then the 3D platform. Because both those games are played very differently. The 3D platform is played more like the Spyro series, which the Diggy the Huskey game is kind of played like that in the 2D sense, of the 2D Game Boy Spyro games, but those have always been weird, and RAM is not the main focus, because there's an ability in Diggy the Huskey 1 called, just Diggy the Huskey, called RAM, which is basically Diggy charges forward and gains a lot of momentum, and whatever he runs into will take damage, while he's still in that mode. And that was inspired heavily on the Spyro series, because Diggy the Huskey was made to be a Spyro-style game. Hence why he's on 4 legs instead of 2 legs. Also because I just didn't want to make a generic, standing on 2 legs character, it seemed too easy. And yeah, it's for sure, making a game with a character on 4 legs is much harder in terms of animating them, and making sure how they stand is correct, because they're wide instead of tall and on one point. Because it looks weird if Diggy's standing on the ledge now, because half of him can be on the ledge and half of him won't be. But that's just because, hey, hitboxes and whatnot, you gotta deal with that. That's fine. But yeah, I didn't realize how long I actually have until the game is supposed to come out. Which is September, so it's May right now, so June, July, August, September. That's 4 months, but I think I need more time with the game. I thought I was ready for a release of the game at around that time, but I'm going to be just touching it up a bit more, touching up the graphics a lot, because one thing I definitely learned, I am not good with environmental graphics at all. In comparison to my character design and stuff like that, trying to design environments and parallax backgrounds is very hard for me. And I should really make it so that it doesn't rely so heavily on that. Just make it a bit more basic, use black as a background a bit more. Or, this is another thing that pixel artists like to do a lot, is basically use the color black, or the lack thereof, to your advantage. Because, it makes things a lot easier. You'll notice in Shovel Knight that, there's no real transparent backgrounds, except for, in the first area. After that, everything has a black background, every single sprite, except for, the characters, of course. So if there was a black background, it would make things a lot easier, and I wouldn't have to, deal with, making all the colors go correctly, and, it's a very dynamic color usage, and I should really take more advantage of it. But I don't, because I'm, an idiot. I've also just been lacking in the work of that game, because I just had I've been having like a huge brainstorm of like games that I kind of want to make. Like I came up with an actual like 3D platform that's meant to be a 3D platform instead of like Diggy, which was originally a 2D platformer. And I came up with more stuff for Pylai, of course, which depending on how things go might happen sooner or later. I'm not sure. It's kind of up in the air at the moment. But like I was kind of like thinking of doing a game, like participating in a game jam for Pylai, because I did start like messing with Pylai's model the second the game jam started, but I have been working on it as of recently. So like if I was actually paying attention to it, I might, but nah, I don't think so. That being said, I think Pylai will be like one of the free games that I make, like one of the first at least. And that's another thing. I think Pylai should probably be like the first game that I released. Like it was originally going to be Castaway, but I lost like all inspiration for Castaway. The sucky thing is, like, that game doesn't look that bad. Like, aesthetic-wise and, like, how, like, the graphics are, it looks really good. But, like, I just didn't feel like doing it anymore, and, like, making 2D sprites is a lot harder for me than 3D modeling, as I've learned. Which I could just translate to just, like, switching the art style to be 3D models, but I feel like it takes away from the dynamic of the actual game itself. And I'd have to, like, one thing I'd want to work on more for Castaway is the combat system is very basic. So I'd want to work on that a bit more. But it's understandable because it was made for a game jam. Yeah, it was just made for a game jam, and I had a short time, and it's a very short game. But, of course, yeah. And I feel like Pylai is a much more lighter, like, simpler thing that I could just do. Because I played a game recently called Willow Tree Adventures, which is like a small indie game that was basically someone's first project, and they released it on Steam. It was very glitchy, but I mean, I appreciated what it was doing. Like, as a platformer and stuff like that, it reminded me a lot of Spyro, it reminded me a lot of, like, just classic 3D platformers, which was a nice, like, touch, because I haven't played a lot of those recently. Like, the only thing I get in that sense is, like, really Ratchet and Clank. Like, I don't count, like, the Mario games or anything like that, because, yeah, they're the same thing every time. But, like, just, like, the classic, like, 3D, like, platformer stuff like that. Like, Banjo-Kazooie, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, whatnot, all that stuff. But, yeah, that was, like, really refreshing to play. And it, like, gave me a lot of, like, insight as to, like, what I should be doing. Especially for Pylai. Because Pylai has always been the game that I just don't know what the heck it is. Like, it was meant to be just a simple game that could be done, like, very easily. And there's not much to it. And I'm pretty sure it's definitely going to be a platformer, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be the game that is like Crash Bandicoot, because of how similar Pylai looks to Crash Bandicoot. In terms of like physically, like his build looks a lot like Crash Bandicoot. Or his, I keep saying his, even though Pylai doesn't have a gender. And usually I refer to Pylai as a girl, if anything, because a lot of people tend to think that Pylai is a girl. So I usually refer to Pylai as a her. But, like, I guess, I don't know why I said his this time. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be it's definitely gonna be a Pylai, that's for sure. It's definitely gonna be a platformer, and I don't know what's gonna be done with it, but I'm hoping I can figure something out soon. But yeah, back to like Diggy the Huskey. That list that I made on April Fools, originally it wasn't actually wrong in a lot of senses. Like, there's a lot of stuff that was added in that list as a joke. Like, a lot of that was a joke, but like there's some of them, like, I'm pretty sure, like, Diggy the Huskey 1, 2, and 3 was originally a thing. Like, until I, like, had the realization that, like, hey, wait, maybe this isn't a good idea to, like, make more games that are, like, 2D platformers. Like, before that was actually a thing. And I'm pretty sure, like, if anything, there'll be a 1 and 2, if I decide to do that. But I'm really just going for, like, the one 3D platformer and then the RPG at this point. And the 3D platformer would just be called Super Diggy Huskey, which I think, yeah, like, calling it Super Diggy Huskey makes more sense, because Diggy Huskey is just his name. It also just, like, sounds a lot better than Diggy the Huskey. Well, they both sound good in their own way, but Super Diggy Huskey can be said really fast. And it doesn't emphasize the fact that, it doesn't make it look like I misspelled Husky. Because, I mean, it's always going to look like I misspelled Husky. However, like, if it's supposed to call Diggy Husky, it's like, oh, it's a name, instead of, like, Diggy the Husky. It doesn't make sense. Because in the lore of the actual game, using the before the character's surname is just how that world works. And that's the joke. But that can never be explained, if anything, like, outside of, like, expanded universe, like a comic or something like that, which I did plan on doing, like comics for the individual villains and their backstories and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, Diggy the Huskey is definitely like one of my mascots, and I don't think he's like my definitive mascots for games, but I categorize him as that because he was like one of my first video game characters, if not the first video game character, if you don't count Cheetah Kid, because he was planned to like at some point be a video game character. But I tossed that idea out the window, even though I still want to make a Cheetah Kid video game of sorts, like either a fighting game like Naruto, or like, you know, Telltale style game. Because Telltale would work really well for Cheetah Kid and how that works, except for like, you know, the end parts where the fights get really hectic. But I feel like that'd be really interesting to do. Yeah, so like I think that's like my mascot in a sort of way, like in terms of games. But yeah, like there's definitely a lot more games that I want to work on, and which can be expected now. Like I think in terms of games that I'll probably be releasing at some point in life, Diggy the Huskey is one of them. Pile is one of them. The other game, which I'm not going to say what it is yet. Another game, which I'm not going to say what it is yet. And I think that's it. It's 4? Yeah, I think just 4. And of course, you know, Tales of Babylon, which makes it 5. And any other and there's definitely going to be future House Pets games, because I know Team Babylon, after Tales of Babylon, if that's ever going to get finished, will probably be making more games after that. And there's talks of like there being a social game for House Pets, which is one of the first ideas for House Pets games, I think. A fighting game, which is, I'm pretty sure, was set to be after Tales of Babylon. Like, if we do make it, it's going to be like made after that game, and we'll probably have a few nods, if anything. But yeah, because I know how to use Mugen, so I'll be the lead developer on that, and lead artist, actually. Basically, I'll just be making that game. Like, with the whole, like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, honestly, now that I think about it, I will be making that game just by myself, really. Unless, of course, I get one of the other team members to actually learn how to do, like, character stuff. Like, I don't know. It'll be a process. We'll learn on the way. But, yeah, there can be quite a few games. Like, I'll say that, of course, one of them is a 3D platformer, heavily inspired by, like, this second-gen platformer with Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, and Sly Cooper. Like, all of them, really. A mixture of that. And then the other one is kind of like a stealth game. Well, actually, they're both kind of like a stealth game, but one more so than the other, which is just a parody game. Oh, I forgot another game. Wow, like, there was another game that, like, I thought of that would parody Pokemon in kind of the same way that Rick and Morty did. However, I'm not sure if that's a game or a show, because I think it would work better as a show, solely for the fact that if it's a game, it will, like, it'll make the character seem less dynamic as a whole. Like, you don't understand what I mean if I actually explain what that is, but yeah. Also another idea for, like, just a bunch of ideas, really. And I always have a lot of ideas for, like, RPGs, because for some reason the only, like, dream games that I ever think of in my head are RPGs. But that's just for future stuff. And I'll talk about that stuff, like, next time, because this is the end of the episode. And thank you guys for watching this episode. If you liked it, I don't really care if you do anything, or, like, you just watched the video, good job. Like, you don't have to like or subscribe or anything. You can just do whatever you want, man. I don't care. Have fun. Do it's your YouTube. You do with it what you want. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.